enjoyed it.
Excellent job, Noah. Excellent.
Thank you. All right. Hi, class. I'm going to be telling you guys how to write a free verse poem. And so I was introduced to poetry at a very young age. In around 4th grade, my dad bought me a poetry book by Shel Silverstein, and I just fell in love with it. And a year later, I started writing poetry on my own, and I kept it all in a journal that I still have tucked away in my room back at home. The reason I love poetry is because it's a great way to express yourself. You can write down your thoughts and emotions and feelings without the fear of being judged by anyone else. Because you can share them if you want, but you can also just keep them to yourself. And poetry is a form of art, but it's a form of art that anyone can do. It doesn't take years of practice or mastery. All it does, it just takes passion and a drive. Poetry is emotion put into measure. The emotion must come by nature, but the measure can be acquired by art. This is a quote by Thomas Hardy. And what he's saying is that we get our inspiration from the world around us, but what truly motivates us to write poetry, it comes from within. And so there are 3 steps to writing a free verse poem. The first step is picking a topic. In the book How to Write Poetry, published in 1919 by Ethel Colson, she tells us that to express one's soul, however weakly, however inadequately in poetry, is to be immeasurably the richer, happier, better. So it's important that you make your topic matter to you. Whether you want to talk about social change that you wish to incite in the world, or if you want to talk about past events, or if you want to explain your emotions and how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. All that matters is that you do something that's important to you. Your topic doesn't have to matter to anyone else. The point of poetry is not to impress others, but merely to express yourself truly and without fear of judgment. In the article, Writing Poetry as an Enjoyable Experience, in 2001, Joey Latterman tells us the purpose of poetry. He tells us that we write poetry to explain day-to-day things and events, but the real reason is to better understand ourselves on both an emotional and a spiritual level. The second step is choosing a writing style. So for free verse poetry, there's no specific way that you have to write it, which means that everything is up to you. This means you can choose the rhyming scheme that you want, whether you want to rhyme in couplets or you don't want to rhyme at all or anything in between. You can also choose the verse and poem length. You can choose how many verses you want, how many stanzas, the amount of syllables you have in each line. You can also choose the language type, and this includes the complexity of the vocabulary that you're using. You can choose if you want to write in slang or what punctuation you want to use. You can also ignore all these rules and ideas and just do whatever makes you comfortable, because in the end there's no wrong way to write a free verse poem. The third step to writing a free verse poem is actually doing the physical writing. You can't force poetry. It has to come naturally, but since there's no incorrect way, you don't have to feel pressure to write in a specific style. In an article published by English and Education in 2007, Jane Spiro tells us the importance of descriptive language. She tells us that we must use metaphors and similes and imagery and adjectives in order to help the reader feel engaged and enthralled by what it is that we're writing. We're supposed to paint a picture with our words in order to help engage the reader. In the article Writing Poetry, written in 1982 by Andrew Waterman, he explains to us that all imaginative writers experience a process of disturbing resonant images resurfacing. What this means is that our past experiences and events should help shape how we write. That's what makes our writing styles unique from one another, is that our past experiences, our past experiences they recur in our writing over and over and over. So this help shows us that poetry is a way to vent and release stress on a subconscious level. Because even if we're not consciously thinking about what it is that we're writing, we see recurring themes from different poems. And poetry is not just a form of art, it's a form of expression. It's easy to learn and there's no wrong way to do it. So there's no pressure at all. I hope that you learned from this that writing poetry is easy and fun, and that it's a way to not only express yourself, but also to feel more connected to the people around you. Thank you.